I am still fairly new as an NLCP coordinator for a chapter. And so I stepped in last April. It's been just over a year and came in after Jane Tillman. So had some pretty big shoes to fill. And I'm never going to have her bird knowledge. Let's just put that out there. Just life goals, but not there yet. I can coordinate classes, but my bird knowledge is not at Jane's level.
Yep.
But one of the things that I was really excited about in joining this is being able to really grow our classes and engage more of our chapter members. And so that was something the chapter president and I were very much aligned with, and we hit the ground running. And so we did when I stepped in, the Austin chapter was only doing level 1 in native landscapes for birds, so the companion class. And we had tons of people asking for the other classes. And so we started to build those out and launched level 2 last fall. We're launching level 3 this fall, and then we're planning to launch level 4 in the following year. So steady growth, sustainable growth. That's our motto. We're going to keep growing, but it's going to be sustainable. Can't do too much at once because we're all volunteers and most of us have day jobs. So let me go over a couple things. If you are part of a chapter that is thinking about starting the Native Landscape certification program, or maybe you've done it in the past and it's kind of gone quiet, then there are lots of things that you can do, and there's tons of people that are willing to help. And so I can tell you that from personal experience. I have asked lots of folks for help. I'm pretty sure Linda is tired of my emails that I was like, I got a question. So I asked a lot of questions and got support from some amazing folks at sister chapters. And so we are here to support and help. And so I might just be a little bit further down the road than you. So one of the things that I really love about NLCP is NLCP really supercharges. And there's a couple of main benefits and reasons it does that. And so some of the other NLCP chapters all kind of fed into some of these benefits. And so these are not all mine, but we most definitely agree with some of them. So how does NLCP benefit your chapter? So one of the big things is it brings in new members. The Austin chapter, we joke and we call it the Gateway Plant, the Gateway Program. Lots of people like that member discount for NLCP, and so it just blows open the doors. And so it brings in lots of people into our chapter, and then we get to talk to them about other opportunities that are available to get involved with anything and everything that they might be interested in. Plant sales, we got you covered. Something at your kid's school, we got something for that. You want to help with the plant database? Hey, Claire is in our chapter. You can talk to her. So lots of opportunities to get involved in whatever capacity people feel comfortable with. So it really brings people in. And one of the really cool things about NLCP is we do ours in person for the most part. And it builds relationships. We are face to face with people. We get to talk with them. We get to know them. There are some people that started NLCP last fall, and they've just been taking the classes with us. And I now know their names. And so when they come to another class, I'm like, oh, hey. And so we're building those relationships. So it brings in new people and we know them. And so it keeps growing. As the Austin chapter, we are a large chapter. And we got one chapter for all of Austin. And as everybody knows, Austin's like exploding with people. And so we have chapters in surrounding counties as well. And so we do have like sister chapters to also like support and do things with. And so that is one of our goals, is to actually do some classes with our sister chapters in like neighboring counties, but haven't quite gotten there yet. One of the other benefits is it really diversifies the opportunities for volunteering. And so one of the things I love about NLCP is that most people see it, and what they see is um, the people right in front of them. They see the facilitators or they see the plant walk leaders, and they're like, ooh, that's a lot. That's intense. I do not have the skill set to be a facilitator, or I don't like public speaking. I do not have the knowledge to be a plant walk leader. which normally people do. So we actually created a shadowing program for our plant walk program of our plant walks. And so we actually like build people's confidence and skill. And so they shadow until they feel comfortable becoming plant walk leaders. And we always do co-leaders. But there are tons of opportunities with NLCP for folks who maybe just that is not their jam. We have a hospitality team. They're the people that go get the coffee. We don't always do coffee. So if people are like, the Austin chapter doesn't do coffee, sometimes we do. We're working on it. The food, the water, making sure students are supported. So we have a hospitality team. We have breakdown teams. We are the lucky chapter that gets to use the Lady Bird Johnson Wildflower Center. It's a beautiful thing and a terrifying thing because we gotta keep that relationship healthy because the state uses it too. So we can't make anybody mad. But they also have a very hard deadline of 3 o'clock. We gotta like be out. I think it was last fall maybe. Craig Dalton, who just came on the call, we were finishing up a class and the lady was literally like holding Craig's stuff. They had like locked us out of the room. And so we got to roll. So we have a breakdown team that helps do that. We have, teams that do like printing and file creation and just lots of behind the scenes things. And so we have lots of opportunities for folks to be involved, even if they don't want that super forward facing opportunity. So for us in our chapter, it normally takes on average about 20 to 25 volunteers to put on one class in some shape, way, or form. So that could be like our treasurer doing reimbursements, our president talking through things. So we got a lot of people doing a lot of different things. So lots of opportunities to get involved. These are pictures of our classes this spring. That's one of our classes. We average about 40 people per class, and then our plant walks are in the Wildflower Center. So you can see us all melting there in June. That was our last plant walk. I think we all sweated our body weight out. One of the other really great benefits of NLCP for your chapter is that it builds community partnerships with local schools, whether that's primary, secondary, universities. It brings folks in. You can have folks that are interested in doing like a Bring Back the Monarchs for a local elementary school or junior high or high school, get involved with NLCP so they get some basics of understanding how natives work and what they need. And so you can bring them in that way. We had a really cool opportunity to get the Office of Landscaping at the University of Texas here in Austin in some of our classes. And so that's a really cool opportunity, and I'm excited to see where those partnerships go. It also builds community partners with other folks, businesses, other conservation organizations or folks that are like-minded or allies in this work. And so you can keep building those relationships and bring those folks in. That also might include cities and towns in your area, because cities have like park and recs departments or watershed departments, or somebody's got like the Lower Colorado River Authority up in their area. So we have folks that are aligned that we can always partner with and work with. And that could also potentially provide venues for your classes in the future as well. And I know some chapters do have a partnership with that they can use the venue, but some of the staff at that venue come into the class at like a reduced rate, or the chapter pays for them or something like that. So there's a lot of like flexibility and opportunities for that. And then it really builds relationships in the community. You get to meet people, you get to bring folks in from neighborhoods, from communities, and it gets the mission of the Native Plant Society of Texas out, and you just get those conversations going and more people talk about it. So that's one of the huge benefits of NLCP. It also creates a lot of opportunities for public awareness and outreach. I slapped up HEB over here. I don't know about you, I get super excited when HEB has native plants. Hopefully I'm not the only person that, totally has ADHD. When I see a native plant at HEB, I was like, I'm just gonna go out here. But we're able to have tables at some HEBs. We're able to continue to talk about that in outreach, and that partnership creates more awareness for our organization as a whole as well. And so somebody might see that HEB and be like, oh, cool, look it up, use that QR code, and then they can come into NLCP and start learning or find other things and other ways to connect with our chapter. Some of the public awareness and outreach opportunities might also be kind of connected back to that former slide of partnerships in your community or with your city. When folks start to know about you, they might be like, hey, do you want to do a table? Do you want to come? Do you want to talk about something? And so it just increases awareness opportunity. One of the other benefits is that it promotes sister chapter programs and state level programs. So when we're doing an NLCP class, we have announcements. We tell people about the symposium coming up. We tell people about our nice plant partners. We tell people about Bring Back the Monarchs. We tell people about the database. We have little rack cards all over the place. We hand them out. We talk about that. So it's that continual like telling folks and letting folks know about ways to get involved, because again, someone might be like, ooh, cool. I didn't know there were other places to go buy stuff except for Lowe's and Home Depot. And we're like, there are some really great nurseries and native plant places in your area. And so just again, increasing that awareness and increasing ways for people to plug in and get involved in whatever way that they feel comfortable. So I'm really curious to hear what some of the other chapters do. NLCP, and I'm gonna throw some instructional design terminology at you. That's what I do in my day job. NLCP as a class is what we would call a high fidelity training. It has a curriculum and it is set. We do not diverge from that curriculum very much. We tell stories, we tell experiences. Everybody's got an experience with a hackberry. At least most of us do in Central Texas. We talk about those, but the actual curriculum itself is controlled by the steering committee, and we don't deviate from that. If you want to deviate from that, you go join the steering committee, friends. But we do have like ways that we support the program and impact the program with different things and kind of characteristics from our own chapters. Innovations for how we get volunteers, how we support them, how we prep people, tips and tricks on how we make these happen. And so I would love for the other chapters to share some of those. Obviously, the plant knowledge part of the class is very much tailored to your ecoregion, and you can, find that ecoregion on the NIPSOC website and drill down into like 3 and 4. So you're actually very specific on where you are and then finding those plants. To give you all an example of something the Austin chapter has done as kind of this is what we did. And this is so Austin, it's going to hurt. So just be prepared. If you all have a stereotype of Austin in your head, this is about to reinforce that. So this year, we started collecting volunteer data. Yep, because we're Austin and we got a whole bunch of data people here. I'm one of them. And where this came out from is our chapter president emailed me in like December and was like, hey, how many volunteer hours have your NLCP volunteers clocked in 2024? And I was like, I have no idea. 0. I don't know. It's got to be hundreds of hours at this point. And I was like, you know what would be really helpful if we recorded that. So we actually had a better idea of how much time we're spending volunteering and what we're volunteering in. Because then if someone's like, hey, I want to do some volunteering with NLCP in this way or this opportunity or that opportunity, we could be like, yeah, that's totally cool. This is about how much time it takes to do that specific thing. So I created like a Google form, and some of the Austin chapter volunteers are on here. They can tell you about it if they want. And we started collecting volunteer data. And it basically was all like, what have you done and how much time have you spent doing it? Super simple, real basic. And what we're doing as we collect that data is not only do we have a pretty good idea of how much volunteer time have we spent, like this spring, we've clocked in about 400 volunteer hours for NLCP alone. So we also did 3 classes, which that was a little much for me and our team. We're still growing, We're going to scale that back this fall. We're only going to do 2. If you're one of the chapters that does 3 or more, my thoughts and prayers are with you. Maybe I should talk to you about how you do that logistically, but our way of doing this, we're like, okay, so now we actually have hard information, hard data that we can talk to volunteers about. So the example would be, we have facilitators. So if I'm trying to recruit a new facilitator to do a training for like our level 1 or level 2, I can say over the past year, our facilitators on average spend about 11.5 hours preparing and actually facilitating the class. We do facilitator prep calls. So like I meet with the facilitators, we talk about the logistics, the content, any questions, the venue, the agenda, stuff like that. The time they spend prepping on their own, and then the time they actually spend facilitating. So that information is really helpful. So if you're talking to someone and you're like, yeah, can you like volunteer? It's going to be about this much time. So that helps people set expectations and plan their own time for what's needed for this volunteer opportunity. If someone's all like, I do not have that much time, and I was like, hey, we have other opportunities. Always got printing and folders to make too. What are some of the other chapters doing around like things that are helping NLCP, things that they've kind of been like, hey, we're doing this, and this is really helpful?
But one thing, the Houston chapter and the Clear Lake chapter, what they do is the Clear Lake chapter always offers level 1, and they offer it every single season. And then the Houston chapter does the other classes. They do it with about 6 people, but 3 of them are instructors and the others are the other facilitators. And they have been since 2020 been doing it via Zoom, which greatly reduces expenses, and they rehearse. They have at least one meeting. It's in their preparation is at least one meeting where they rehearse the entire class, so they are prepared for how it goes. The North Texas chapters, Dallas, North Central, and Trinity Forks, all use the same plant list and the same slide presentations. And the Dallas and North Central chapters usually hold a class via Zoom together. So it's a lot of people. And then they have separate plant walks at venues in their area. So, and we have another new chapters to NLCP, Bastrop and La Bahia, and they are planning on collaborating on their first class coming up this fall. So there's a lot of ways you can spread the burden around.
Yeah.
Finding the people. So instructors need to have taken the class and become certified by passing the test. They don't have to have taken all the classes. They have to take the class that they are going to teach. Volunteers also, if they're going to stay through the class, need to have completed the class. They can be completing it as they volunteer. If they are doing pre-prep, they don't have to have taken the class. So in one of the ways that a lot of chapters help with the venues and make sure the venue is suitable for their plant walks is they volunteer there, or some of them volunteer there, so they can make sure that the plants you need are going to be there. So finding the venues is, if you're going to do them in person, you need to find classroom capacity. Most classes are about 30 people when they're in person. And then you also need plant walk site. So there's nature centers, libraries, community centers. It could be places where your chapter maintains a garden for your plant walk. That's what a few do. Let's see what else. Universities, campuses can be good. And one tip, I don't know that anybody's doing it, but I've been told in the past that if you partner with a student group at the university, the student group can rent the venue at a drastically discounted rate. So that's something to consider. As far as finding the qualified people, I can make reports of people in your chapter or people in your area zip codes or countywide. Well, actually, I need zip codes or cities. in their address, and I can make reports of people that have completed the classes. And then there is the, as for the plant list. So out of NLCP in the plant list, we have since created our native plant database, which I've hoped you've looked at and used extensively. And we have begun to identify what plants are in what chapters plant lists. So we can use that to create the plant fit list rather than you doing the tedious work of making spreadsheets. But also we can create plant lists by ecoregion to help you find the plants that you need for your classes. For level one, well, every class or level 1 through 3 all teach 45 native plants and 5 invasives to avoid. And level 1 should be the ones the most easily obtained in your area. After that, it's open. So it can be, after you made your level 1, it can be beneficial to make the level 2 and level 3 plant list at the same time.